Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're episode 288 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's going mad with me tonight?
Hey, it's Michael Colby from Jack Billings Presents and This Bizarre Adventure.
And once again, returning champion of Games My Mom Found, Cody Swampborn of House Laveau, professional animal wrangler, warden of the Riverlands, bender of limbs, winter soldier, gentleman adventurer, former handsomest man. I'm coming back. You watch out for that. Gentleman adventurer. I think I said that twice. Breaker of hearts, treasure hunter, friend to every single animal on the planet Earth. Easily Mike's most famous guest that he has ever had on this podcast ever. Is that right, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, Helena's got
Probably
100,000 TikTok followers, too, but I don't remember where you're at.
142,000, thanks to a very special cat video that I posted just this week.
Okay, you might be more than her, but you both are my famous ones that I know. My TikTok famous.
It is the one, the only, the Cajun Crippler, the Mississippi Miracle, the Crescent City Saint, the once and future podcast guest, Cody Laveau.
Welcome back. And we are here to cover a game that we haven't... we talked about the first one. So I pulled it up. It was episode 59, published... Let me see here. I did not pull this up very good. February 24th, 2020. Before the world ended.
Oh, wow. That was right. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was right before, because March is when the world shuts down.
That's right. I was supposed to go to Boston like 2 weeks after that podcast, and then the whole world just shut down. So I've still never been to Boston.
I was supposed to go to Texas. I never went to Texas yet.
Oh, man.
It would have been for work, but I still wanted to go see Texas.
Is this the longest you've ever gone between a sequel to a game after doing the original? Because I've done like all 3 Dead Spaces since then.
And Tomb Raiders.
And 3 full Tomb Raiders. Like, we have done so many. We've done entire series between these 2 Alice games, which is fitting because it took like a decade between the last game and this game to come out.
I think it was just me. It probably is, yes. I had a hard time with some of the stuff that wasn't my picks with the early cast that isn't on the show anymore, and I just kind of went, maybe I'll get to it when they come back someday, always thinking that was going to happen. Then finally I'm like, it's time. I just need to play this. Get it over with.
Play it. Yes,
so, and exactly. I always like to start off whenever I have you, Cody, on. What are we all drinking? So
tonight, I am actually drinking, this looks like regular Jack Daniels, and it almost is, but this is actually the special reserve that you can only get from the Jack Daniels distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee. I have a series on my TikTok called The Redneck Abroad, and I got this specifically from the Jack Daniels distillery when I visited there. Fun fact about this, as I pour this on camera, let's do that just to prove that I'm actually drinking it. I was supposed to be doing a series of like videos that were pre-planned out, so I will call people in advance, or rather Cam does, because she's so much better at that, the lovely Cammy Calamity, who is my partner in crime, as well as many, many other things. You've seen her on my videos.
Yes.
She had set up this interview that I was supposed to do with this nonprofit, this animal rehab that I was supposed to go out and do. And they were very excited to have me on there and making videos with me. And then they watched my TikTok. And as you know, some of my older videos are a little bit less savory. They're a little bit less suitable for work. I'm much more clean now, but back then I definitely wasn't. And I think they found the one that I made with my mom, where I found the most vile, disgusting song I could play. And I was like, hey, that would be hilarious if like I just hit the radio and this song popped up. There might be kids listening. So this is about horses, the horse song. And I think that this nonprofit saw the horse song video, and then they messaged back and went, you know what? We actually don't feel like you're a good fit for us. Conversely, contacted Jack Daniels, is like, hey, can I film some stuff out there? And they're like, hell yeah, get in here, brother. Jack Daniels knows exactly who they are. They watched my videos and they went, you know what? Horse video guy, that is who we want associated with the Jack Daniels brand. Let's give him the VIP tour. So props to Jack Daniels for having an excellent sense of humor. Cheers to that. What are y'all drinking?
Just flavored water, but I have a Games My Mom Found tumbler.
Ooh, gotta
get on the
that.
Patreon, you will see a video of this episode when the day it goes live.
Mm-hmm.
Just my small plug for Patreon. And,
and
Colby, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking out of my not a sponsor Circle strawberry lemonade flavor.
It's lemonade powders. I quit drinking for the most part. I have a little bit of beer here and there, but I mostly went sober, and I quit pop other than zero sugar pop, but I try not to have it in the house.
That's very, very good. And like you've been walking more. It seems like you're.
I'm trying. I haven't said this on the air
yet,
yet, but I'll say it here. We get off topic anyway. But they told me I was diabetic, so I was like, okay, and I completely just started changing my life, cut out sugars, cut out sweets, cut out a whole bunch of stuff, started exercising, and started making a change. So sometimes you need bad news to make you do something.
Mike, that is a lot of people would hear that and just do nothing. I am exceptionally proud.
Oh, I know someone. I'm related to someone that found out he was diabetic, did nothing, then got really, really sick, then did something. They told me I was diabetic, and now I'm pre-diabetic because I made changes. So
rock on, man, rock on. Cheers to good health. I will drink to not putting bad things inside of your body.
And as I like to start all these episodes up about the game, I want to talk about our history with Alice. We're here to talk about Alice Madness Returns, developed by Spicy Horse, published by EA, and came out in 2011. I never bought this game back then, or never played it back then. I did buy it at some point for 360. I bought it for PS3. At one point, this was hard to find because this wasn't on PC or anywhere else.
No. To be honest with you, I only bought this game because it had the original Alice if you pre-ordered it. But for some reason, you had to beat the sequel before you could play the prequel, which I thought was weird.
Oh, that is weird.
That was a very weird thing.
I guess I didn't try until after I beat the sequel.
Yeah.
I never played the original when it came out.
Me either.
So,
Love it.
like, weirdly enough, the way I heard about the original was in the book Masters of Doom. American McGee was working for id for a while, and they were talking about how he was like working on the first Alice game when he was working on Doom as well. And I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And then the new one came out, then this game came out, and I was like, it looks cool. So my wife was working at GameStop at the time, so we just pre-ordered everything and got it for 20% off or whatever the fuck it was.
Well done. Right on. All right, so Colby,
yeah,
how is life treating you this evening?
Pretty.
Oh, wait.
I mean, besides the fact that it's 100 million degrees.
Are you also here in Texas, or are you somewhere hotter, like the sun?
He's somewhere colder.
I'm
colder.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how hot it is in. I don't know how hot it is in Texas, but in Philadelphia, it is 82 right now still, and it was like 103 earlier, which hotter than I like it to be.
That's
yeah, that is
for where you're at.
Yeah, that is, and y'all like don't even have like AC and stuff up there, right?
Yeah, window air conditioners and a lot of fans.
Ew, gross.
Oh, and I think I already said what your history was, didn't you? I know Colby did. Oh,
what? History?
History with this game.
Oh yeah, of course, the history with this game. Oh, you're asking me my history with.
I can't remember if you said anything or not.
Yeah, no. I did buy this game originally. I was a big fan of the game back in the day. I seem to remember that I bought it on sale at like Walmart or something, probably in like the 10th grade, which it would have already been out for a few years, I think, by that point. When did the original the original Alice come out?
2000. December.
So I probably played it in like 2002, 2003, somewhere in that area. And it went on sale, I remember, decently quickly. Like I played it a year or two after it came out, bought it for $10, thought it looked cool. Mine was blown by it. It was a pivotal game. When I realized that I am a cowboy, but I definitely got a goth side to me, or at least there's something very appealing about that. I love twisted, wicked, horror, kind of dark themes, stuff that kind of makes you uncomfortable just a little bit. Sort of like put your hand over that fire, whatever that aesthetic is. I love it, and Alice had that in droves. It was much more sophisticated story-wise, and I feel like a lot of video games were during that time, where it was dark but not just edgy for the sake of being edgy. And loved it, consumed it, lost the disc at some point, but I was just waiting around. There was internet talk back on the old message board days that a sequel was going to come out, and it was going to come out, and then there was going to be a movie, and Sarah Michelle Gellar was going to be in it, and then just nothing ever happened. And then so as like a grown-ass man, this thing came out back in the 360 days. And I remember I got it very early, half of it because I lost the old original Alice game. So I wanted to do that, and then I got really frustrated because I had to play through the whole sequel to this game before I got to the original.
I didn't know that was a thing because I had bought this partly too and got it with the code because it had the original Alice, and I didn't play PC at the time. I never did play Alice until we did for the show back in 2020 on a PC. But like to me, that was something that was really cool. I mean, this game had always had my interest, but for some reason, I've never played it. My wife had actually played it for like an hour, maybe once. She started it, then she just didn't keep playing it. She always wants to. She forgot about it, I think. She's not a big gamer like I am. And the game looked cool, but I was just like, oh, I'll get to it someday. It was just never one of those that was on my list. And then I finally like, okay, fuck it. We need to do it for the show. I mean, I know Cody will be interested, and then I was happy that Colby was able to join us. Like, this game is a lot more fun, and nobody talks about this game anymore.
No, not at all.
The one group I'm in that's for Alice that talks about this game all the time, but it's a Facebook group for Alice.
Yeah. Well, I think that this was a very interesting time that it came out, because this is the whole jumping around the collectathon thing that had sort of died out at the end of the N64, beginning of the GameCube style of game. I feel like that had gone missing for like. This
isn't a collectathon. I mean, maybe
there's
but you don't have to.
There's the pig parts and stuff. But I'm saying that kind of design of it, where there's like worlds and you can collect. I mean, it's not like Banjo-Kazooie for the kind of stuff that you collect, but there's like hidden stuff, and I really liked. And
this is like a mascot platformer. You're right.
Okay.
This is more like a mascot platformer than anything else that was coming out at the time.
And this was right before all that got big again. This is before Crash came back, or Spyro, or like Ukulele, or any of that came back and sort of did the mascot platformer. Perfect way
I didn't even
to put that.
Think about this being a mascot platformer. You guys are right. Like, that is kind of what it is. Like, I mean, it has the collectathon elements, but they're all optional, thank God. Because I didn't go for many of them. I'd see them, I'd grab them, but after a while, I'm like, that's nice, and I just kept going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't care.
It's also it was also refreshing back when this came out, because it was in the dregs of when everything was brown and gray and everything was a like morose shooter. Like, there was nothing with any sort of like fun in it. There was nothing with any sort of color in it. And this game, like, I played it on the PlayStation 3 and it's gorgeous. Like, the animations and everything, like when you dodge and you turn into butterflies, like the way her hair moves around when you're jumping, like the game is like surprisingly holds up really well in like the graphics department.
Oh, very much so. I do like when art styles kind of have this more evergreen style to them. When things don't try to go ultra realistic, they oftentimes stand up better than if they wouldn't. A game like Twilight Princess, Twilight. No.
Twilight Princess still looks good, but it wasn't the realistic.
Of Wind Waker, yes. Yeah. I feel like Beyond Good and Evil had a very different art style. So even though it was something made around that same time as Alice, the fact that it looks so different and was not trying to go for realism even a little bit still ensures that game looks good. And this is firmly within that category.
All right, I was surprised how good this game looked. I played it on my Steam Deck, so it wasn't, the nicest because it's on a handheld, but it was like, this was a great game to play on the Steam Deck. Like, the platforming was great. I love murdering people with a Vorpal knife and just ripping apart weird-ass enemies. Yeah. Like, I was surprised how much fun this game was from 2011. And it doesn't feel like a game from 2011. It doesn't feel like that 360 era. There was no turret section. And I gotta give credit. Every game in the frickin' 360 era, they always love their damn turret section. They gotta work it in somehow for no reason, but you gotta have a turret. There isn't one.
It wasn't brown and foggy and miserable.
No.
Yeah.
It didn't go, hey, remember Gears of War? We gotta make that.
Exactly.
Yeah. 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 It does feel a little bit, because it does get a little bit framey. Like, you can tell that it's like, I don't even think it's hitting 30 frames a second.
It's not.
And during some of the platforming sections, you have to be like really precise, especially later in the game. And the framiness was a little bit annoying, but it wasn't impossible. But like, that was the only time that the game felt its age, I thought.
I didn't notice that, but it could just be I don't play newer games, really. I'm kind of stuck. Like, every so often I play one new game here and there, so I don't really notice stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did die a lot with platform. I would miss things, but usually it felt like it was my fault. But also, it's so quick to reload, and there's no real punishment. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I didn't have that issue. I just didn't My brain didn't even notice it.
It definitely wasn't like a deal breaker. It wasn't like really bad, but like I did notice that like when you're jumping, it was like 10 frames a second. And I'm like, I'm missing platforms because of this. And that could be because I was playing it on the PlayStation 3. Like maybe, you know, if you're playing it on your Series S or X or whatever, or the Steam Deck, something that does, you know, upscale stuff a little bit, help it run a little bit faster. Maybe that was the problem, but yeah, it was a little bit framey, but nothing too, you know, nothing deal breaking.
Yeah.
I don't like platformers normally. I'm not, like, if anyone listen to the show, listen to a lot of episodes, I don't do a lot of platformers on purpose because I'm not a fan. But this was fun. Like, this had the right feeling for it, and it didn't bother me, and it didn't have any real challenging platforming. It gets harder. Definitely gets harder as the game progresses.
Yeah.
But it never felt impossible. It never felt like I need to be Twitch jumpy. Like, it just worked.
Yeah, it was not a punishing game.
Yes.
No, and it's not even like so much of a platformer as it is like an action, not an RPG, but just like an action game. It has more combat than a lot of the platformers, but I think it was a little bit, if I put it into a classification, it would be platformer.
Yeah, same.
Wikipedia says action adventure.
Yeah.
But that's such a generic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Oh my
action
God.
adventure. You could almost put any video game into the action adventure category.
Anything short of Tetris, you can almost say that's it's an action adventure. I could classify Mario Brothers or Disco Elysium or Fable. Or wait, are we going to do Disco Elysium? Because I actually have the brothers or Karamazov sitting right next to my thing. I have a lot of theories. Maybe
I should then.
We could do a 3-hour podcast simply about like existentialism and communism and malaise, and I can drink more, and we can do the most depressing episode of games my mom found.
Maybe that's the day I don't go sober. Okay.
I did not enjoy Disco Elysium the first time I played it, so maybe playing it again might be because I was like, I played it when I was depressed, and I don't think that was the right time to play Disco Elysium.
No.
I've done that with games too. I played some games before, like when I was depressed. Like I tried watching Boys, the season 1, and I was depressed. And I was like, yeah, we're turning this shit off right away.
Yeah, you don't need that.
So you got to be in the right places for some of this stuff. So I get it. I thought this game would be hard too if you were going through depression, because it is really fucking dark.
Yeah, and it deals with a lot. It does deal with like, it's almost like dealing with almost schizophrenia.
I think that would
but
be the right word.
There's definitely like depression stuff in there, and when she's out in the real world, man, it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant to be in the real world.
Yes,
I think that fits 1800 London though. Or anywhere in the 1800s feels like it'd be pretty unpleasant.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody is just trying to like gaslight her or like be mean to her or like take advantage or use her for something, like get money out of her, extortion. Like everybody's terrible except for maybe the lady that owned the brothel. She seems all right. But the rest of them, like they all seem like they're just like, everyone is very unpleasant in this game. And they all talk with obscene Dick Van Dyke British accents, which I also like. Hello, Alice. Like just that kind of like, which is also how I assume every British person talks.
It worked. I mean, I liked it. I liked the way that it has that correspondence where you have the level where she's in the real world for a little bit, then something happened, like she gets knocked out, she gets punched in one time, like different things happen to her, and then she ends up in the Alice in Wonderland madness world. And I think that it does a very good job of doing that, and it does such a good job of bringing the story and like the way the story just works. And like because if you do collect all the memories, you get a lot of like gaslighting and things that are happening to her and what the doctors are saying. Because this is a direct sequel to the first game, where I guess in the first game she was in an asylum, but she got out and now she's working for a doctor or something like that, I think, in this game. I didn't finish the video that explained the story because I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the story. I just played through the game and I had fun.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem is the story is really interesting, but I feel like the gameplay like intercuts it like so much. Like you could have squashed the gameplay of this video down and definitely gotten me a lot more invested in the story and just the aesthetic. Like I feel like there were sections that drug out far too long that actually hurt the story a bit. Like, this game could have easily been 6-7 hours. I would not have complained even a little bit.
Yeah, but I agree. It was a little bit long for this type of game.
In that it ruined the pace of the story itself. And then having to collect the hog penises or whatever that was.
The snorts, the hog noses.
Yeah, there it is. But yeah, because otherwise if it was a phallus, they would have been very curly-cued and even more horrible than this.
I mean, you don't need to get them. Like, you don't need to shoot them with the pepper grinder. You don't need to collect the memories. I mean, you're missing part of the story if you don't get the memories, but you don't need to.
But that is one thing that I don't much care for, is when a story gets kind of gatekept behind something like that. It's kind of the problem that I had with the original BioShock, where, like, if you didn't find all of the little video recorders, you wouldn't. So, I mean, you could piece together the story anyway and also have a really fun time. But I don't like that there's, like, something that's hidden underneath a sewer grate that I need a special kinesis power to pull up a thing for the story to have some kind of a context in it. And I feel like that's what the hog snorts kind of do here. I'm on the opposite end of that. That's exactly my thing. Like, I'm a big, like, Dark Souls guy, and, like, that's how I like my story told to me. Like, I like to have to, like, find my story. I don't want
to
earn it.
I don't
a little.
Yeah, I don't want it spoon fed to me. I want to work for that story.
That is perfectly fair. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I might have agreed with you. But I'm a dad now, and I have a whole job, and I'm going to Iceland a bunch, and there's too much going on. I don't have time to. It's why I can't do Bloodborne or, like, Dark Souls or Sekiro, or I cannot touch them, because I know that if I really, really want this, I will grind it for 85 hours trying to get it. I will launch myself out of that cannon into a brick wall, which is what I did with the original Dark Souls.
Okay, and you know what you're getting.
Oh yeah, no, and I have done it, and it's a very satisfying experience. I just ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. I haven't done one of those games in a while.
I don't think that's your kind of game, Mike. I mean, you and your save states, and you're staying busy and trying to play a different game every single week. I don't know how you could do that.
Well, surprise! Bloodborne's on the schedule.
We're doing Bloodborne in October.
May the odds forever be in your favor.
Yep, that's how I feel too. Actually, we're doing September, Colby.
Oh, okay.
So, I'll be starting that game, like, I better be starting that game next month. So, But no, I'm excited for it.
No, that's y'all are gonna have a lot of fun with it. It looks really, really cool.
It's so good. I mean, I got my little hunter here. I got my board game. I got my fucking Bloodborne tattoos. I got the platinum in that game. That is my jam. Bloodborne is my jam.
I beat it once before, so I'm not too worried.
Oh, okay. So you at least know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm not too scared.
Fair enough.
I just got to give myself enough time. I'm also going to play online, so I have help when I need it.
Now, it should also be noted where that I am a bit of a hypocrite, because I did just say I didn't want to have to earn my story, and then literally held up the Brothers Karamazov. So I don't know what that says about me. Like, it is obtuse as you can possibly get.
Just depends. I mean, Bloodborne, those type of games are a special kind of game. Like in Alice, I think it's just where you wanted it given to you because it's also very interesting. You know, it touches on a lot of like subjects, or a lot of like dark subjects. Like for her, you find out that she was, as you know from the first game, that she was in a fire. Her family was all killed. She survived. And in the beginning, she's blaming herself. Well, I left the door open, or I did this, and it's my fault. And then she's like, wait a second. No, the cat didn't do it. The cat was on the window still the night that it happened. And you start to see her come to terms with herself. And I think that's really good.
The only thing that did seem weird is the sister. That there was a sister brought into it that I guess wasn't super relevant to bring up in the first game.
That's because it involves the doctor, which you don't get. Well, you get a little bit in the end.
Right.
The doctor was abusing her is what you find out, and that's why he's the one that lit the house on fire, because she was going to tell people that he was a pedophile, and he went, oh, I'll just light you on fire instead. So
right. But then, like, her sister was, I mean, we're just doing full-blown spoilers now, but, like, the sister was dead, but not burned, so that's how she kind of figured it out. But, like, but the sister wasn't mentioned in the first Alice game, right? I haven't played that.
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say we played that in the before times, and I've killed a lot of brain cells since then. So I'm pretty sure they did not mention that she had a sister in the first game. So I think they sort of retconned that a little bit.
Perfectly normal thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. I don't know I don't remember any of it, so I can't. And I didn't look up anything about the first Alice game to refresh my memory. I just looked up stuff for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even touch the first Alice game.
I'm sure that there are YouTubers that have like a 4-hour video on the lore of the Alice games.
Well, there are.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I didn't look for.
They
I
are
couldn't even
all
watch a 20-minute recap of the story that I beat of the game I beat. I didn't even finish that. Too busy.
Oh my god.
Too busy playing Zelda. That's what I've been up to. So I had other things. I don't know. I mean, I like the game, and I like the story, and I like the fact that it's very dark and that it's her coming to terms with herself. And, you know, she finds out that the doctor was the one that lit the house on fire because that he was a pedophile. And, like, you start finding all these things out, and she's like, and I think she even does something where she's like, where she kind of like puts him in Wonderland almost, or something like that in the very end. But to me, also, the story leaves it open for another one, which we're never going to get. So kind of just like, I enjoy what it was, and I enjoyed it as I played through it. But to me, it's like, there's never going to be a third game. EA made sure of that.
Yeah, I mean, unless, well, I don't know. I mean, there's been some weird stuff that has happened, but yeah, it seems
they
highly...
tried.
They
did a whole American McGee did a whole fundraiser on GoFundMe, got money for it, went to EA and said, "Okay, I want to do this." They said, "That's nice," and they wouldn't give him the rights.
Oh my god!
He even had the money, and they still wouldn't give him the rights.
Oh my god!
So yeah, they don't care, and they unfortunately own it, and corporations don't give up stuff they own.
Nope.
So if they're not going to use it, you can't have it.
Yep. You know, maybe there is some kind of like a trade that they could do with a cooler company. I don't know if this is a total tangent, and I know this is weird, Mike, because I never go on any tangents whatsoever. But did you know? Did you know in the game Epic Mickey, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they have Oswald the Funky Rabbit or whatever his name is. Do you know how Disney got the rights to him?
That I don't remember. I know they don't own them.
Well, they didn't. They traded the rights to Oswald the Silly Rabbit or whatever for Al Michaels, an actual real life football commentator, and they traded him. I believe it was to Warner Brothers or something. they traded a real life football, and I mean a guy who used to commentate with John Madden was on the same level as some ultra obscure black and white rabbit from like the 30s or something. Don't.
They probably just want to get out of the contract. They're like, here, we don't want them anymore.
Yeah, so like here, so maybe EA can do that, where like the rights to Alice
wants to
could be traded for like a franchise that they think that they could want, or
but he don't own anything,
or no. I mean, not even to American.
Oh, just somebody else
like, But like maybe like a Valve would go, we have $1 billion. Do you want the rights to whatever? Like. You know,
it would be nice. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you could get something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, no,
Probably
you are right.
not.
I mean, like weirder shit does happen in life, but no, EA seems like they just don't. I mean, I don't even care about this franchise. Like, this game wasn't on Steam until recently. Like, I posted in a group and people were like, "I wish I could play it." I'm like, "It's on Steam for $1.50 at the time of this recording." Like, pick it up. But it wasn't there for a long time. It was gone. There were rights issues with it. It wasn't on anything. They delisted it and they hit it. It just recently came back.
Yeah, they just don't care.
No, EA don't care. EA is trying to figure out how can we make money from a live service game that works.
Which is so strange because that seems so out of character for EA. I don't know what's going on there.
I think Microsoft needs to buy EA.
Surprised that hasn't happened. Well, them to shut down the whole company, but yeah, it's right. That hasn't happened yet.
Activision Blizzard could buy that. I'm sure
that is Microsoft now.
I'm sure they would be much nicer. Oh, right.
The same company.
I know. I was just trying to think of like, could we conglomerate all of the video game companies with kind of shaky practices and sort of put them into one place and just sort of maybe that would
be like every company almost.
Yeah, that's every company.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
I mean, there's a lot.
I mean, all Microsoft needs to do is buy EA and Ubisoft yet, and then I think they got them all.
And then it's just the video game company.
They can
give them time. They might be up to it.
They can
that is downright Soviet.
11 cents.
That is downright Soviet. I kind of love it.
I mean, this game I also felt did a very good job of switching between combat and platforming, where it never really got boring to me. Like I was always, it was enough change that I was content with what I was playing. I was never too irritated. The only time I was irritated because I didn't pay attention to what they were saying when I got to the Executioner, the giant card guy that you can't kill and you have to run. And the game even said you should run out the door, and I didn't put two and two together and run out the door at first.
Yeah, and so, it's nice that you can switch between your knife and your like pepper grinder.
Yes.
Really easy. Like you just do it. You don't have to screw around in any menus. You don't have to like switch it with a wheel or anything. It's just like
back and forth.
You hit the bumper and then you hit the X button and you're doing the other thing. And you need that because the way that the combat works, like you'll have the weird like bee things flying at you, and then there's like stuff crawling on the ground, and you have to take care of this, and then you have to take care of that, and then you have to, jump and platform and do all that stuff, and it all works real smoothly.
The weapons are good.
Could I pick at nits with the weapons? Because there's one little thing. Okay, so the hobby horse, the pepper grinder, when you upgrade them, they then look stronger. They look tougher, right? Why doesn't the Vaporo blade do that? Why does it just look the same even when it's stronger?
Because he didn't know how to draw a knife meaner looking.
Yeah, but put some ridges in it, or put a little bit on the top, or put some like Hattori Hanzo kanji, like something. Make it look. I'm telling you, I am picking at literal nits. Stuff like that bothers me. I don't know why.
I think
something I noticed.
It's because it's like a legendary thing. Like in the Alice books, the Vorpal blade is like the weapon. That's like the thing that you need. So I think.
Well, could it like glow or something?
It could have glowed. It could have done.
Give me a better color. Something.
It could have done something, yes.
Okay,
but I think just because that's like the legendary Alice weapon, that they're like, this is what it is, and that's what it's going to be.
Fine.
I didn't even think about that because everything else does change. I mean,
this is why you have me on your podcast, Mike. These are the important things.
I mean, I like the weapons. You have the basic, you have the knife, you have the hobby horse, which is your heavy attack, essentially. You have your pepper grinder, which is kind of like a machine gun, and then you have your teapot, which is a grenade launcher, essentially. Fucking love the teapot. I
do kind of miss the blunderbuss from the first game, though. Like a weapon that is so ultra powerful and drains all of it, but it is your panic button. It's like, this is my last ditch. I'm almost dead anyway. Just nuke.
I have no memory of what you're talking about, by the way.
Maybe
no memory.
We've killed a lot of brain cells, Mike.
I probably have. I drank a lot too. So drink too much. But
one time, yeah.
More than one time, but not anymore for now. But I also played 200 plus games since I played this last.
Telling you, so is the longest we've gone between sequels. So unless
it probably is, yes.
So unless we do like Fallout 2, I think that I don't think we can get much further away.
No,
and you are not doing Fallout 2.
No, I'm not doing any Fallout, apparently. I might do Fallout 3, but sure as hell I'm doing Fallout 2. I fucking hated Fallout 1. Yeah, because even Golden Sun, I did Golden Sun, which is, I've done all the Metroids, I've done Silent Hills, Resident, a lot of the early stuff. I've even done 007 games. Yeah, this is, especially for a direct sequel, this is pretty long for me.
I am a lore master, and that's the one, or I don't know how many folks know of this, but I actually maintain the Games My Mom Found wiki, which doesn't actually
doesn't exist
except inside of my own mind.
Hey, you're welcome to make one.
You know what? I'm not doing enough, Mike. I might as well. But yeah, I was pretty sure that is the game that is the longest you've done without a sequel. Was the original Fallout, and you hated it.
Yes, I did. I still do.
He still talks about how much he hates the original Fallout.
If this show ever ends, make the next to last episode Fallout 2, just so we can.
I fucking hated Fallout. One of the worst games. Stalker. I did the second Stalker. I haven't done the third, and I probably won't. But that's because if I don't have the original people, I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, so. No, I wouldn't. I just like the idea of Fallout 2 is just like a goof.
Yeah.
Like just for continuity's sake.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to do stuff like that because I'm like, well, you should not, but I'm like, no, fuck that. It ain't happening. So. There's too many. I only got 52 weeks to fill, and I got better stuff to play. So that's how I look at it. Another thing about like with this game, like, is you have the worlds are all very well divided. You have 6 chapters in the game. The sixth one's just really a boss fight, but
yeah.
You have 5 chapters, and they do a good job of all being very different. I know one is like where you're with the queen cards. One is where you have to deal with her and all her bullshit. You have one that's in the sea, and one that was like freaking like Chinese village. It seemed like where you fight wasps. That was fucking cool.
Well, wasn't that because this one was like developed in China or something? Or like created in China, but it was like a nod to, I don't know. I think I read that while I was drunk, but I'm pretty sure that it was really cool. I
didn't realize Samurai Wasp or something that I like. I like Samurai Wasp killing ants. I'm like, this makes sense.
It's a great aesthetic.
It could just be because they wanted to sell copies in China, and
that seems like
movies do that shit too. They'll put a scene in China and then. Because there's a lot of people in China and they got some money. So
if there is ever a movie that you see and there's just one random Chinese actor in it, that is why. Because I know for movies, they only allow a certain, Age of Ultron, like all of the Michael Bay's, all of the Roland Emmerich films, there's always one random Chinese actor that's in there, just so that it's much more likely to be distributed in that country because of limited runs and stuff like that. So maybe I know that video games in China have always historically kind of been a weird thing. So who knows?
I mean, there is a World of Warcraft unlicensed amusement park in China. So hey, if you look at video games.
Yeah, but I know. Yeah, absolutely.
I just thought the worlds were very just different enough to keep the game very interesting. One thing that I did not know about beforehand is that they constantly change her costume. Each time she goes to a different world, they give her a different costume. And at first I'm like, that's stupid. I'm like, no, this is actually pretty cool. Like, I like seeing her different outfits.
It was amazing. Did you have a favorite dress? This is important.
I probably did, yes. But I didn't really think about it. But it's definitely not the blue one that she starts off with. I think it's the one in the card place. I like that one a lot.
You didn't make a ranking of all of the dresses?
No, I did not actually. I didn't even think about it. I played.
There was like one, because I look at the wiki for this also. There's the one with like the squid thing, or like the underwater thing was really cool. Yes,
like the bluish green dress.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that one too.
And then the one with the doll head on the small of her back. I thought that was super cool.
I did not catch that.
And then there's like the red and the black where it's like all tendrily and stuff. Like, I have a lot of very strong opinions on all of Alice's dresses in this.
I mean, and now I get it, because I'm part of an Alice group that I joined 5 years ago on Facebook to promote the Alice episode. They haven't done the one since. And like, I would see people post cosplays of different costumes. Like, I didn't know these costumes. And then now playing the game, I'm like, oh, there's more shit in the game than I knew. So.
If there's anything that we learned from the Tomb Raider games that we played through, is that dress up is like one of the most fun parts of this.
I mean, the game also changes up the gameplay. Like in the underwater place, you have a part where you have a side scroller where you control a boat, which apparently you can just sit in the corner and do absolutely nothing and avoid all the enemies. I found out by watching a speedrun. You also had a part you had to roll a doll head, like a little puzzle, like marble game. Like they did some. At least they tried different things to mix up the gameplay.
And that's where I felt like it was that's where it started to drag for me. Is it felt like it was a lot, and then they would just throw you into. I mean, like, not that the side scrolling and the extra little stuff wasn't fun, but it felt like just get on with it at that point. I feel like stuff just kind of got peppered in for no other reason than they're like, oh, we need like a 14-hour game.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the time,
and that's one of those. That's one of those things where they're like, they put it in, and then you never have to do that thing again. So, like, why did I learn how to do it to begin with?
Yes.
Just to change gameplay. I mean, I didn't mind the boat stuff. The part with the when you're a paper and you're platforming, that was okay most of the time, but even near the end, it was getting to me because it got hard. You did it like 3 times. You did it one too many times.
And that's not always a bad, like, system to make games with. I feel like, like mixing things up constantly, you're only doing something once or making it only necessary once can work. I feel like Rockstar are the kings of that, and like Red Dead and like your Grand Theft Auto games, where it's like for one mission only, you're going to pilot a drone helicopter. No, wait, that mission actually sucked. But
yeah,
like,
I was going to say that's the worst example you could have came up
that's
with.
San Andreas, and that mission's like the worst mission in the entire game.
Worst mission. But y'all know what I'm saying is, like, just for this mission, you're just going to do this thing that we made completely out of scratch one time. That is necessary.
Yeah, and the thing that I was thinking of was like the Play Dead games, like Limbo and Inside. They do that a lot, but that's also the entire game. They're not. Yeah. They don't have a game that you're playing and then pepper in those different things.
Right.
The whole game is learning how to do something.
Just that.
And then, yeah.
But this is 360 era where I feel like, one, you had to pad your games. I mean, this was also a PS2 thing. Like, you had to really pad your games, otherwise people are going to bitch in reviews. I think it's getting better now, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm so far removed from all that, so.
No, I mean, like, I wish that people would learn that, that developers would learn that less is more, even for AAA size games. This is kind of like a AA. I wouldn't call it a B.
I would definitely call this a B game. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But like in that everything had to be longer is better. But then like Portal came out in like 2007, and like that game was like 2 hours, and it was perfect. It was
perfect.
Polished down,
game.
Perfect. Zero fat on it. Absolutely like. Perfect game. It lasted exactly as long as it needed to. Nobody complains about the length of that game.
And I don't think that that's the developers. I think that's the publishers.
Yes,
I think that's the money people who are making them put that stuff in there. I think if it was up to the developers, they would probably do the Portal thing and make the game exactly as long as it should be.
As it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly. And be done with it. But the money people are like, well, then people are going to complain when we charge them $70, and so we can't have them do that.
Which again, that should be more about development time and what the market says. And now we're getting on into capitalism and stuff. There have been so many times. I mean, again, the aforementioned Disco Elysium. What is that? I mean, you'll spend 50 hours on that. And I mean, like, if you really want to delve in and go through all of the story, you could spend 50 hours on that. And it's like, what, $25? And like zero,
now, but not
zero. But no, I mean, even when it came out, I don't think it was full.
No, it wasn't
Retail price.
Oh, it wasn't? Never mind.
No, it was not. No, it was not a full price game. But again, like, development time goes into that, the number of people. But I still feel like most people would not complain if a game is not like 20 hours long. If you want a game like this that is narratively focused, that is tight, that is very fun to play, just do, you know what? Dead Space does that really, really well. I feel like Dead Space, that series was fairly tight, especially in the first two
before
Dead Space games. Right. But in those first two games, it was really, really tight. But you could go back and unlock different things with multiple replays of that game. There were more nodes to collect. There are harder difficulties. There is a new game plus to it, and you could keep going. But if you are like me, you could play it once. It could be a hell of a story, and you could never touch that game again. You know, it was like 12 hours. Perfect.
That's how the Resident Evil games are too.
Resident Evil, perfect example of that.
I mean, this game took me 10 hours to beat, according to Steam, but it felt longer. I mean, there were times where I felt like this has taken a while, and I'm getting ready to move on.
And then the way you play games, Mike, you skip through cutscenes.
I try to watch cutscenes. I just don't go for extra stuff.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, you don't collect anything. Like, you are trying to get to the very end of that game because you got shit to do, Mike. I feel like you finish games faster than anybody else.
I mean, this game, I did go for memories until later in the end because there wasn't a benefit for going for them. I didn't really get, like, had it given me something that felt like towards an upgrade, I would have been more forced. I went for teeth, which we haven't talked about yet. Because in this game, you get to collect teeth, which really bothers me, I found out, by the way.
Yeah,
and then collecting teeth how you upgrade your weapon. So I went out of my way for teeth because I wanted to upgrade my weapons. I just wouldn't go out of my way for memory. I did memories at first until about chapter 4 or 5, and I said, fuck it. I'm kind of done. But I did try. If I saw a door where I could shrink down and go through a keyhole and go to I would do extra stuff.
Right.
For the most part. Like, I even got one health upgrade. I did over 4 of them and got an extra health thing. So I did some stuff. I always try to make sure I do some. It just depends on how the game feels for me. Like some games, like Zelda, for example, I'm playing Age of Calamity, and I'm doing like everything at the moment. And I try to do it with games. I try to do as much side stuff as I can until I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I am done with side stuff. Now I'm just going to go finish the game. And then I do all the main stuff.
Fair.
That's kind of my rule. So I'm like, with this game, I was doing the same thing. I was going for memories. I was going for stuff until I just got kind of sick of it. And like, I just need to finish this.
I feel like if you had done, is this a relatively new thing, or has this been the way that you've always played games? Because I thought I like remembered you trying to just get through them really quick.
I've always been like this, even before the podcast. Okay. I would just, because I would buy so many games. I mean, I still have hundreds of games I'll never play, but it just, once I got money and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy cheap games, and that became my thing. So I've always wanted to beat stuff and move on to the next one. Right,
but I mean, like you trying to beat things really fast. My immediately thought back was, if you had done Metal Gear Solid 3 like that, which is one that we did, and you would just like skip cutscenes and not try to collect anything, you could have probably beaten that game in like 35 minutes.
Yeah, quick, but not that quick. But yes, like
that is a movie with some occasional stealth elements in it. And one really
why I don't like the Metal Gear games.
I've only ever played Metal Gear Solid 3. It was for this show, and I just talked about how one of the wasps in that game would induce a priapism, and then there was a guy covered in bees. And other than that, I don't remember anything about it.
But you have become the pain a couple times.
Yes, right? I have become the pain. I got stung by 65 bees all over my body at the same time. I didn't get any powers other than my piss smelled like battery acid. So that's kind of a power for about 48 hours. You will.
This sounds awful.
Yeah, no, it's the worst thing. Don't ever do that. If you ever get the choice, don't get stung by 65 bees at the same time.
Good PSA. Life advice.
Yeah, that is good life advice.
So did you have any PTSD when you saw the wasp in this game?
I cut up, shot, smashed every single one of them. The some bitches I could see. And those aren't even bees. Like wasps haven't even done me any personal offense, but they're a little bit too much bee-like that I saw nothing but red until that level was over. And I was waiting for like a queen wasp at the end of that, but there's no boss fights in this game except at the very end, which
I think is a nice
here, right? Is it? Okay. I didn't hate it. I mean, it's like big arenas and you're fighting a bunch of them and some of them are bigger, but I thought it was interesting that there was only one boss fight in this whole game.
I was expecting more, but the game doesn't do it, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Like the game was fun, just the way it was. I mean, you do have things that are different. They try to, like you said, they mix it with the arenas, but like it was enough for me. I didn't need boss fight besides the last one, and it made that last boss fight have that much more meaning because you're fighting the puppet master, but also you're fighting a real person because he's the one that is the whole reason why she's in this situation. Right.
Which makes sense why that was the one and only boss in that game. How did you feel about that, Colby? I feel as like a big Souls-like guy, you are looking for that big puzzle boss fight.
I actually did like that there wasn't a lot of boss fights because I did feel like this was more of a platformer. And in platformers, traditionally, boss fights are not great. So, what I want out of a game depends on what type of game I'm playing. Like, I like a lot of different types of games. But if I'm playing a platformer, I'm like, then I want good platforming. And I want the combat, to be smooth. And like I said, in this game, the combat is, changing between your knife and your horse and your, and your pepper grinder and whatever is so smooth and like it feels good that like I didn't even notice that there wasn't bosses until I did the boss fight. And then I'm like, no, wait a second. Did I forget that there weren't bosses? No, it was just. Oh, and by the way, the black, like the bondage with all the straps dress is the best one.
Oh, yeah.
Which one was that?
How do you forget that?
I don't. You might. I'm not. Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I forget that? Because that's kind of my thing. That's not kind of. But
she's got like the belts all over, and then she's got the belts all up on the thigh-high boots. Everything's leather. That's the good one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good look.
I remember when she's in the Chinese area. I remember that outfit. I don't know why this is not computing. Okay, I think I see the outfit now. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's like an orb, like instead of a bow, it's like an orb with like bat wings or something. Very cool looking. Everything, the aesthetics of this game are top notch.
Yes, I found all the outfits. I don't remember that one. Maybe it's the second world, and that's why I don't remember it, because it was early on. I remember the other ones later, but I can't remember what was what. But I'm happy that that's there, because I was always, we're never getting a third game. So like, hey, we might as well get her outfits in here. So we're never making another game of these.
I don't think that they were thinking that when they were making.
Probably not, but
No,
I
I'm
like
sure.
that idea. No, he probably thought he'd get a third game, but
yeah, the card level outfit is good. The Queen of Hearts outfit, but yeah, the Bond G one was the one.
I was expecting a Queen of Hearts boss fight. I was happy they didn't do that. You just see her because you killed her in the first game. So it was a nice touch. You don't have to fight her again, even though I expected it. I really don't remember a lot. I don't remember anything about the first game. But like, I know there's some stuff from it. Like when you go to the card world, you see like the king, the white king from that was in the first game. You have to kill him to get through a door or something. Like there were some cool little touches to remind you of the first game. They talk, you know, the Cheshire cat that looks the same. I really hate him.
Yeah, I feel like the cat didn't have as much to do in this game as he did the last. Okay,
I don't think so either.
Because I remember really liking the cat back in the first game, and I feel like there just wasn't as much going on here with him.
I did like when you go to the card world and you fight the card captor guys. They're all like zombies.
Yeah,
because you killed them all from the previous time you were here. I thought that was a nice touch.
You know, as far as the boss fight thing was, I could almost get behind the Turok model, which, again, I don't know if this is an obscure. Do you remember? I am going to bring up every video game except for this one. Do you remember in Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, the OG one, right?
I know it exists. Does that count?
Okay. Yeah, okay. So there's like 10 levels in it, and there's like 4 bosses. So like every other level, or like it'd skip to, but then when a boss showed up, you weren't expecting it. And it would sometimes show up in the middle of a level. Like, it would just blindside you.
I've never beaten Turok. So
Turok, I have never beaten Turok without the cheats. I remember I got to a certain point. I just couldn't get past one of the guys. But there's only like 4 or 5 bosses in that whole game. And there's like 10 levels. And then again, other than the guy at the very end who's like the warlord or whatever, there was like a T-Rex and there's like Jeeps and there's like a giant mantis. But they would just show up randomly throughout the game itself. And I would almost think Alice would benefit from having like 3 puzzle bosses in it. Like something where you had to figure out and do some platforming around a boss rather than just make it a straight up fight.
That's fair.
I agree with that. I don't remember anything about Turok. I never owned my own N64, so
I will talk extensively about the N64, and Mike knows this because it's like anytime I am such an apologist for that system. It is 100% nostalgia glasses, but there's so much game building that was done during that time that I will often draw from that or particular well, almost to that point where Mike will be talking about Metal Gear Solid or Red Dead, and I will be like, oh yeah, that reminds me of like Iggy's Wrecking Balls. Wrecking Balls, yeah, and like, or like Monster Truck Madness or some shit. He's like, what are you even? All right, Cody, go on. But
I don't have nostalgic. I had 64 and I played it, but it's not one of my favorite systems. That's why there aren't a lot on this show of 64.
That's fair. I know, and I keep telling you, if and when you do one of these games that is on the N64, you better give me a call about it, because I will nerd the hell out about it.
I'm just not huge.
Have we done in a N64 game where I've been on it? 'Cause I know you've done GoldenEye, right?
I think GoldenEye, I did Perfect Dark.
Have I been on one of your N64?
I don't know. I did Banjo-Kazooie, but that was before.
Yeah, that was before I was involved around here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do a lot of them. I did Super Mario 64, but I can't remember if you were there or not.
I
know Carrie was there.
Was I on that one? I might have been on that.
I can't remember. If only I had the ability to look it up, you know.
I've only been on like 15 of these. I'm like one of your most recurring guests now, Mike.
I can't remember. It's been a long time.
I think I was actually on that one, funny enough.
I think you were too, but I don't. Alcohol. How about that? Alcohol.
Yeah, cheers. I will drink to that. Don't mind if I do. Bottoms up.
I'm looking it up right now. Yep, you were on Super Mario 64. Me, you, and Carrie.
I was on a whole episode that I
That was episode 187. That was a while ago, so that's
completely forgot about. Which episode is this?
187. So it was about 7 years ago.
Hey now, the show's not that old yet.
Which episode are we on currently?
I don't remember. 200 something.
200 something. Okay, just wanted.
280 something, but I can't remember what it was.
Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus, we're doing this.
288.
Oh my god.
No, 288.
Oh my god.
I mean, I've made a lot more episodes than that. That's just
But
how many weeks I've been
besides
doing
the
this
side
show.
piece. I mean, we've already gone over 300. I'm sure.
I'm over 650 episodes altogether. So hey,
Jesus.
that's not.
Oh my god.
And it's called Making Podcast.
Ain't no rest for the wicked, huh, Mike?
I mean, pretty much. Whew, I make 3 to 4 of these a week on average.
Jesus.
3 on average. 4 this week, but that's neither here nor there. Hey, I love what I do. So.
And I do what I love.
One thing I want to talk about, like teeth. I went after the teeth, but it made me feel so just. I don't like teeth. I don't like collecting teeth. That bothers me. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but it bothers me, especially more now. I had my first tooth taken out a couple months ago, and I'm just like,
Really?
I'm not okay with this. This is bothering me.
Wait, you had it yanked? Did they put a fake one down in there? Do you have like a crown?
No, I just left it empty because I didn't want to.
Nice. The old hockey player look.
I mean, it's far in the back, you can't tell. But I didn't want to pay for an implant. I want an implant, but I don't want to pay for it, nor did I want to go through anything. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. But I had a really traumatic experience. Because I went to one dentist, he tried to get it out for an hour, couldn't get it out, and they had to send me somewhere else with half a tooth. And I'm like, I can't be like this, guys. Like, we got to solve this problem.
That is unpleasant.
So I think that I'm more traumatic to seeing teeth. I was like, I don't like this. But no, I mean, it's a cool concept to collect teeth. I don't know why you're collecting teeth for, but whatever. Like, upgrading the weapons felt nice. I almost upgraded all of them. The only one I didn't finish was a hobby horse because I was like maybe 100 or 200 teeth away from completing it by the time I beat the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did a pretty good job of going out of my way looking for stuff. I just got tired of it. I felt like the enemies were very good in this game of giving you a variety of stuff. You have the Mad Hatter stuff, like you fight the little guys with cups. You have the wash that we talked about. You have teapots that you fight. And there are different strategies you have to use for different enemies. And I felt that everything worked well together. You have the weird ooze-looking guys with the masks on and those different forms. Like, I liked what they did, and I felt that the enemy stuff was very good and varied enough to keep me interested. And creepy as fuck.
Yes,
Don't forget that part.
Which is the best part.
I mean, this game's not a horror game, but it does have those elements of it all over it.
This is more like Hot Topic goth game than it is like a straight up horror game.
That's fair.
Which is
90s
my
Hot Topic.
Yes, absolutely. Back when it used to have like the weird, dangerous like crypt entrance to it in the mall that used to like stick out, and then the senior citizens used to walk wide around it when they were mall walking first thing in the morning because they were creeped out by it, and it was like really dark and there were laser light. Like it was a different time. You had to be there, and I feel like the original Alice game was the poster child for that. Like 1999 Hot Topic mall goth aesthetic.
I mean, this game still has it. I mean, people love this game still. Like, I was surprised. I mean, I'm still surprised that I never played it. I was also surprised how much fun I had. Like I mentioned earlier, like I just had a really good time running through this game, and
it's great.
Everything felt nice. Like the combat felt good. The platforming felt. It just was a really good experience, and it's a little too long, but 10 hours for me wasn't too bad. But it was a little too long.
And honestly, it's just kind of the aesthetic of it, I feel like. I mean, like, spackles over a lot of the defects this game would ordinarily have, namely the pacing and the length of it. But I feel like even in times where it was getting, like, the gameplay was getting really redundant, I was having so much fun inside of the worlds that I was in that I kind of didn't care because I love being inside of that world.
Same. And there's one level, or it's like Card Tower, where you're up high and you're jumping across the sky. That was a nice aesthetic too. Just so much different stuff. Like I just really liked it. I was really into this game.
All I had to do, like, it's really stupid, but all I had to do to get me back into it was just dodge. The dodge is like really good, and just seeing you sort of just turn into a bunch of those blue butterflies, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah,
And then it was just like, oh yeah, that's right. Everything in this game looks really cool.
All you got to do is dodge, spoken like a true Souls-like player, right?
If you can
I
dodge
love a good
Fireball, you
dodge.
can dodge
I don't
an
know
axe.
what to tell you.
If you can dodge Havel's greatsword in that tower in Dark Souls 1, you can dodge anything. Probably not, but I did. I remember that asshole when I found him the first time by accident. I went, what the hell? What's this? And then he murdered me. I'm like, oh.
Havel doesn't have a sword. He has a dragon.
A giant club.
But whatever.
It looks like a giant club, but yeah, it's a dragon tooth.
Yep.
Oh man, Dark Souls 1. Whew.
Oh, Dark Souls 1.
It's been a minute. Yeah, but yeah.
I always have a great story. I've told before, but I'll tell again. When I was playing that game, I got to Sen's Tower, and I was trying to get to the Iron Giant, and I remember I went to go meet my wife for lunch, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing." She could tell I was upset. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I can't beat Sen's Fortress." And she's like, "Really?" And it's always stuck with me ever since. So, and like when I play Bloodborne, she's like, "You're playing that downstairs. You ain't playing that near me." So I'm like, that's gonna be a fun couple weeks.
It can't take you a couple weeks to beat Bloodborne. I refuse. I refuse to let it take you a couple weeks.
I'm not too worried. I beat it once. I can do it again.
Yeah.
And I plan to have PS Plus online, so when I get stuck on a boss, I ask for help.
Well done.
I'll get through it. I'm not too worried. Bloodborne was pretty good anyway, just the way the combat was. Oh, another thing we haven't talked about in Alice is you can shrink down, which you can use for going in puzzles, and you can also use for seeing invisible platforms throughout the game.
Yeah, and I totally Mike Albertin this game because I forgot that that shrinking down gives you hints on where to go. So I was like walking around like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? And then like I would shrink down, and then you would see an arrow, and you're like, shit, that's right. I'm like, it's actually really funny because I forgot that happened. And while I was doing it, I was like, this is such a Mike thing to do.
That is fair. Hey, I am a meme now. We'll talk about that later, but I was referred to as a meme, so hey, I'll take it.
That is what you're going to be known for, Mike.
And not in a positive way, I'm pretty sure it wasn't meant, but hey, well, that's fine.
As the guy who plays video games wrong, and I was like, man, I'm that guy who plays video games wrong.
I used to shrink stuff all the time. And I don't mean by Richard. Richard always shares a gift with the 3 dragons, and he's not wrong because the way I play game. But no, there's something else where people called me a meme for a different reason, which I don't know if I'll mention or not in this episode because I'm not drinking. So we'll see if my tongue goes there. But yeah, that's what made me think of. I also want to say the jumping in this game was nice because you have like the triple jump she can do, and you can hover. Like there's some nice stuff to it. Like it's a lot better than I feel like a lot of platformers have. Maybe I don't play enough platformers, so I stay away.
Yeah, no, I think it was one of the early ones that did like the jump, like the double jump and then dodge that like I think DMC like sort of perfected. But yeah, it was one of the first ones where I was like, oh yeah, jump and then dodge. This is game changing.
It was nice.
When I was playing it.
I mean, I didn't realize this playing, but you can go faster when you dodge. Like that's the faster movement speed. Is just jump and dodge, jump and dodge. I always watch speedruns, and that's how you know what the fastest movement speed is, because they'll show you constantly.
Every time.
It's like playing through Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and you're backdashing the whole time.
Yeah, it looks like that hurts your hand.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I don't speedrun anything. I mean, I do, sort of, but not really. I just play the game quickly. That's not speedrunning.
And wrong.
That's just on a strict schedule that I hear myself do. But no, to talk about like the shrinking stuff, like you would also like I did like it where you would see the different arrows, so it would help you if you were getting lost. It would show you hidden platforms that you need to use. You would have like little things that have like, little teeth just drawn on the wall, which also bothered me. There's also conch shells you find in this game that lead to a little like arena where you'll fight, and then you'll end up getting essentially heart tanks. You got to get 4 heart pieces to get a heart tank. I mean, it's a rose, but it's a heart tank. Just nice extra stuff to have in the game.
Yeah.
I only got 1 upgrade. That was it. I just didn't bother enough with it. I got near the end of the game. I'm like, I'm not going to find 3 more. So what's the point of doing this one? Like, there's no point. So I didn't bother.
Exactly.
I just didn't feel like fighting enemies, and I wasn't going for it. I was just having fun.
Yeah, of course.
I never really died. The only time I died from getting my ass handed to me was when I tried to fight the executioner that you can't beat. Other than that, I didn't really die in combat.
Yeah, it wasn't an overly difficult combat game. Like even a little.
No. Not on. I played whatever the easier difficulty was.
Same. I always do that now anyway. Again, I'm a dad. I got better stuff that I have to do.
You're also an author and a TikToker now, so.
I am a lot of things.
And you have a day job.
And I have a real life job as well. So I don't know how I do all of this.
Getting your ass beat by bees some days.
Some days I get stung by a lot of bees.
Some days ostriches want to fuck you. So hey, and kill you at the same time.
That is a whole other thing. That was on one of the podcasts. We talked about that. And then it seems like every other month I'm in Iceland or Florida or Tennessee or who knows where.
Because you were in Memphis, Tennessee, weren't you?
No, I was actually on the complete other side of that state. I was in Chattanooga.
Okay.
So you saw me dive into that cave and I'm like squeezing through holes. So yeah, that's all up in the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay, I was in Nashville and Knoxville.
Yeah, I was south of Knoxville. I flew into Nashville. A beautiful town. Got to spend a night there. Went to Broadway. Highly discourage you from ever going to Broadway. It was awful. Hated it. But the rest of Nashville is beautiful.
I went to the Grand Ole Opry.
Perfect. That is a great experience. Go to the Mother Church. Go and see that. And then go east. Go up in the mountains. You kind of did that with Knoxville. Visit Chattanooga. And then if you really want the folksy experience, visit Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. That's where
I went to Pigeon Forge. You mean Redneck Disneyland?
Dollywood.
Yeah. Gotta get it right. Redneck Disneyland. That's what my southern friend called it, who's from Alabama. He's like, you went to Redneck Disneyland.
It's amazing. As I said, sometimes I say that Vestmannaeyjar is the Gatlinburg of Iceland, but in truth, I would say that really it's more of the other way around when I would say that Gatlinburg is actually the Vestmannaeyjar of Tennessee. You know what? Because I feel like Gatlinburg kind of did it first. Like if you want a Ripley's, believe it or not, right next to Dollywood, right next to probably like a thimble museum, right next to a lumberjack themed hotel from the 1950s, you look no further than the beauty that is Gatlinburg, Tennessee. The last verse of Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue was written about that for some reason. I don't know. Colby, you ever been there? Do you know anything about it?
No, I've only ever been to Western Tennessee.
Okay. I briefly lived in a town called Atoka, which is just north of Memphis, which just north of that is Millington, if you know where that is. Where the giant naval base
I've been through, yes.
Yeah, I was living there during 9/11. So like the entire Navy base went on high alert and we all freaked out. And then there was an earthquake there one time, weirdly, because there's a giant fault that nobody knows is there. In fact, it was in like the early 1900s. There was an earthquake so big there, it made the Mississippi River flow backwards, which is like a weird fact.
Wow.
There. What did you do down in Memphis? Because I certainly didn't leave anything down there. I have no reason to ever want to go back to Memphis. Apologies to anybody from Memphis who's listening to the podcast right now.
No, we didn't go to Memphis. We went Dover.
Dover? Okay.
It's like right on the Kentucky border.
Oh, you were way up north. Wow.
Yeah.
They're in a whole lot up there. I bet that's really pretty up there. I've never been up there.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's like you can be in the middle of nowhere. So if you don't want to do anything, you don't have to do anything. But then if you drive an hour, like 5 different ways, there's like cool college towns and shit like that.
Oh, those are always the best.
Yeah. It's a good place to vacation. Hey,
nice.
Look, Mike's back.
Hey, Mike is back. Thank you for listening to my aside about Tennessee. Beautiful state. Paid for by the Tennessee Bureau of Tourism and for Jack Daniel's whiskey. Cheers.
I didn't drink any whiskey while I was in Tennessee either.
That's where they make it, man.
I know, but I don't drink. I'm trying not to drink. That's when I found out I was diabetic right before that trip. So I'm like, well, we're gonna behave.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I ate chicken though. I had barbecue chicken.
Some of that
everywhere.
Some of that Nashville hot chicken, right?
Not hot because I can't do hot. But I did have some hot chicken.
Enough. I can tell you as a Cajun, the hot chicken that I tried was decidedly, it was fine. It was not hot.
I stayed away from hot, but I had eaten chicken.
Yeah, but just if for anybody visiting the Nashville hot chicken as a Cajun, I find to be very palatable. It is a good heat. It's not a super hot heat.
One thing I want to bring up about Alice is the Dollhouse World really bothered me.
This is an Alice podcast. I forgot about that.
That's fine. That's what people come for Games My Mom Found for. But the Alice, the dollhouse stuff, which is really fucking creepy. I don't like dolls. I find out more and more. I'm reminded that. Like, that stuff just creeps me the fuck out. I'm not okay with that. Especially with you being like in a dollhouse, like that bothered me. Like, very horror vibes for me. That's one of my problems, apparently.
It's just dolls. So you didn't do well with the Child's Play franchise, is what you're telling me.
I actually never seen any of them.
Really?
I've seen part of the first one because I was trying to impress my girlfriend at the time.
By showing her a doll-themed horror movie that takes place.
She wanted to watch it, not me.
Which is a Christmas movie. If Die Hard gets to be a Christmas movie, so does Child Play.
The first Child's Play is
yes, it is
legitimately scary,
and it is a Christmas.
It's actually going to be on the show this Spooktober, so I will be watching it and experiencing it for the show.
Hell yeah! I defy you to stay on topic, Mike. That is why I am here.
That's fine. I mean, there's only so much to say about an action platformer.
Yeah, exactly.
In general, so it's fine. I know, just one of those things that creep me out because there are eyeballs everywhere, and you have the doll head that you're rolling around. It just bothered me. I'm like, I don't like this.
And that was the level with the doll head on the small of her back on her dress. That's why I like that dress so much.
I also hate the doll enemies that you fight that you had to like shoot the nails on them, and then they bothered me too.
Do
big naked dolls?
Do symbol monkeys bother you, Mike?
Do what? Symbol monkeys? I don't like their face.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, I because I actually could have put mine like right up here if I didn't know that you had a problem.
Hey, it's bad enough I can see, not anymore, but earlier I could see Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman figure face in the corner over there.
She's still right there. She's still like over here now.
Can you not see my porcelain doll hanging off of my chair?
I was gonna say she's
the hand
right there. Oh, there's the whole thing.
See, I never do video, but every so often, Cody, I do video.
Because
the switches. The switches in the doll world had eyes on them that follow you, and you turn to switch. I'm like, fuck no, I don't like this shit. So that stuff bothers me. Collecting teeth bothers me too. What do the bottles do? You collect bottles in this game. Anyone know what those are for?
That's a great question. I was trying to get through this game as quickly as possible on the easiest difficulty. So you might want to ask Colby on that one.
You don't want to ask me any details because I was playing this in between Shadows of the Erd Tree, so
I finished the game about 2 weeks ago. So
okay, I beat this game like 3 days ago.
I finished it a little bit ago. So some of the contents.
No, it's fine. The game didn't explain it.
May have shifted during
shipping. I also had a save where I was like into the third level, and I was like, this is enough to play for podcast. I played through this before.
No, you're fine.
So it was probably explained in a part that
I don't think it was ever explained
years ago.
I think it's just one of those like it's a collectible to be a collectible. I don't think it ever gives you any upgrades or nothing.
Yeah, this is very much an action platformer collectathon.
Yeah, just without it being mandatory like Donkey Kong or Banjo-Kazooie, for example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, as we kind of talked about in the end, when you finally get to the end of this game, because you're chasing a train, which is destroying Wonderland, which is part of like the whole story of the game, and eventually she finds out the train has to do with the doctor who abused her sister, who lit the fire in her house, and then she finally confronts him, and that's where the game ends. Confronts him in real life after you
I did like the aspect of that where you go back where you get a lot of the taste of the real world. And then she's almost seemingly kind of forced back into it by the guy that, what?
There's one thing I forgot. That part when she goes to the asylum where they're showing like the flashback.
Yeah.
And she's bald. Her head is shaved and she's in the straitjacket. That is a fucking creepy ass part because it's like those asylums must have been so terrible to people in the 1800s.
Oh, very much. I almost wish that for the sake of this, there had been a little bit more like the Sucker Punch, like outdated, like Sucker Punch. Have you covered that movie yet? Very underrated movie by
I have to watch the movies I cover. That's one of the only movies I watched half of it back when I was just trying to watch a bunch of movies and went, this is terrible, and never went back to it.
It is. No, but keep it that way. It's unapologetically terrible. It would be perfect for this show. It'd be hilarious for you to do and like just a clown on it.
We'll see. I have to watch
a lot of that like archaic like medical treatment from that time. I think that needs to be used more in video games. electroshock therapy, lobotomies, stuff like that. I think would be I feel like we should have even had more allusion to that in this game than what we got.
It's a dark little scene. I guess it's supposed to be a flashback of when she was in the asylum.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just but then again, those things were so bad for people in that time, so I get it.
It was awful, yeah.
I mean, it took a long time for them to finally understand mental health. I mean, we're still trying to understand it. Some people are just like, you just gotta grow some balls. Like, no, that's not how this works, guys.
Yeah, that's why you don't listen to people like that.
Yes.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Whenever someone says, man up, I'm like, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, one of those guys. I made a TikTok video about that very recently, where I have been I am old enough that I've been neurodivergent back when they used to just call it weird.
Yeah. Same.
Yep.
Yeah, I grew up in the 90s. I very recently started doing therapy because I grew up in the 90s where everybody was just like, no, you don't, you're a guy. Like, you don't do that. You man up and bottle up your feelings, and then that's just how you live. Mm-hmm. So
if there's anything that anybody could take out of this podcast, absolutely. If you can hear this and you have not been to therapy, you probably need therapy. I believe that just about anybody walking the earth, unless you have just lived the most charmed life you could possibly have ever lived, you probably need to go to therapy. It's worth every single penny that you pay for it. If you have health insurance and it covers that, there's absolutely zero reason that you should not be going in there, popping the hood on the old loaf of bread, just on the backside of y'all's eyes and getting it looked at. Even if you're not sure, absolutely seek help, even if you don't think that you need it.
Yep. Even if you're 137 years old like I am, you can't, it's never too late to do it either.
Nope, absolutely not.
I know I need to personally. I almost did, then I canceled. But I need to.
No, absolutely go out and seek mental health treatment. It will change your life for the better. Absolutely.
Yep. It definitely will.
Wow, I got weirdly preachy there for a moment. Who wants to talk about video game butts?
You can't really, one.
Very frilly dresses. There weren't any good butts in this.
No, there weren't any good butts in this game. I'll tell you what, though. I did download the demo for Stellar Blade, and you want to talk about some video game butts. Mm-hmm. Wow, Stellar Blade. And they just focus in on it.
Let me Google Stellar Blade. Yeah, y'all are fine. Go on. I'm gonna Google Stellar Blade.
I'm almost running out of things to say for this game, so I don't have.
Yeah. I've been out of things to say about this game for a while. I
am too. Oh wow. Yeah. Y'all should Google Stellar Blade. Person. Yeah. Just let me know when y'all are ready.
One other thing we did mention that one of the weapons you get, which is mainly just a tool for puzzles, is the little rabbit guy that you can drop off. That's a bomb. It's really just, I never use it in combat. I just use it for puzzles. Oh, I guess you see that image on your phone.
and that was one of the games where when it was previewed, it was even skimpier outfits and more buttier butts and bigger, jigglier boobs.
That's fine. Jigglier. You need that.
I know what I'm getting. And then when the game came out, people were like, "Oh, they're making women less sexy in games because of wokeness," and I'm like, "You fucking idiots!" Anybody who says woke seriously as an insult can go fuck themselves.
I don't feel bad. Anyone at this point listening to the show knows that what they're getting themselves into. I go on enough political rants on the show.
Yeah, I don't. I don't feel bad about it. As a matter of fact, I said something at work. I'm like, "No, you don't." And then the one dude's like, "Well," and I'm like, "No, stop."
Sorry, what?
Butts. We were just talking about.
No. I was also butts.
You got distracted. I also blame
this is for the people actually watching the video itself. Y'all are getting components that you would not get just listening to the audio version of this show.
Only, huh?
There are shenanigans going on.
I've been trying to get Mike to do more video.
I know, but some of the people I record with often don't really want to, so I don't.
Tell him to suck it up. Tell him to
man up. I mean,
tell him to get VTuber avatars.
You know, I forget about VTubers exist, but when I was playing Metal Gear Acid on my Steam Deck, it showed that I was playing some VTuber game because for some reason that's what I don't know how, but that's what it showed. Yeah. Oh. Fun fact, nobody asked for. That's what you get playing ROMs, I guess. Because my friend's like, what are you playing? I'm like, I'm playing Metal Gear Acid. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not playing this VTuber made game that Cat Girl that looks on here. I mean, I'm not playing that. I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm not playing that. I'm playing Metal Gear Acid with cards. Yeah. I mean, it's weird too, but hey.
Yeah, why not?
I love not confusing, but like, you know, on Steam, it's like you can hide stuff, and it's like, why would I hide? Like, I want people to know that I'm playing Hentai Survivors.
I don't hide anything. I don't even care. I'm very open about what I do, and yeah, I don't. It's like, oh well. I mean, anyone listening to the show found out more about me throughout many of the episodes than they probably ever asked for. Especially when I'm drinking, which is not tonight. But I say I have said many things over the course of the podcast. Drinking, I do miss drinking because normally I drink with you, but I just didn't want to like.
No, Mike. I am very proud of you. And for the sake of that, I'm drinking alone. I'm not going to peer pressure you into drinking at all.
Well, I don't have any alcohol in the house on purpose.
Making very good. I've
had a few beers. I've had shots, but I was drinking like 2 to 3 beers a night every single night, and I'm like,
that's where I am. Like I am trying not to drink as much.
But you also didn't have a giant gut. I've seen what you look like, so I had a gut.
Okay, I've lost 8 pounds in the last 2 months. Mike, look at that. Look, I'm getting lean and mean, man.
I've seen pictures.
I'm getting all strong, man. I've been intentionally trying to get in shape. I'm gonna get back in fighting shape. This is a special occasion kind of night. It's Saturday. I'm partying. This is the night. I've been waiting all week just to have.
Plus, your job involves you being active. My job involves me sitting in a chair.
Yeah, this is true. I do throw hay bales and sacks of feed and stuff. So
yeah,
I am a very active person.
I was 30 pounds lighter when I was doing demolition and disaster cleanup, and now my job is sitting behind a desk and making sure that other people are doing their work. So
I couldn't do it. I don't know how y'all can sit at desks and work. I mean, y'all even see me doing this podcast. My legs are always up here. I get squirmy. I can't do it. I love being outside. Texas right now is about 100 and Jesus Christ outside, and I still have to be outside sweating, working, getting stung by 65 bees at the same time. I don't know what else to do. I would explode if I was.
I couldn't do that. I like having a desk job for the most part, but there are days when I'm like, I just want to go outside.
I spend more of my waking hours outside than I do inside.
I do not.
I pee outside more than I do inside on any given. That is a legitimate, like in my everyday life, it's about a 5-to-1 ratio. Even when I am here, unless it's the winter, I go outside and I just pee off the porch here.
But you also live in the middle of nowhere, kind of too. So.
I do, and it's nice. I do love it. That's the best thing about not having neighbors is that I can pee in the front yard, and it's great.
Yeah, I would have the cops called on me pretty
And nobody's watching me except for the government. And you know what?
Hey, it's Texas. They want to make sure that you know the history of Texas. So
give them something to talk about.
I had a whole conversation on a previous podcast with Carrie where we talked all about how Texas and you have to be taught the history of Texas and you got to know this and the government of Texas.
Oh, very much so. And they make you learn it twice. So you have to learn it when you're in like the 4th grade. I didn't live here in the 4th grade. But never mind, because then they give you a refresher course when you're like a junior in high school. You have to take Texas history and government.
I didn't need to know Wisconsin history. They didn't care, but Texas,
There is a Texas pledge. There's a whole thing.
I know what their current pledge is right now, and I'm not going to say it on here.
But, we're getting spicy, and I agree with you. I'm not even a Texan, so, I mean, you can talk much shit as you want about them. I don't mind at all.
I go political when it calls. This isn't a political game. And now we're Metal Gear Acid, I got political.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you're not going to hurt my feelings talking shit about Texas.
I know how you are already. We've been friends long enough. I'm not really friends with people that don't have my beliefs. I can't. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about. I do have some questions, comments, and memories. I don't got a ton, but I got a few to read. So we'll go to that. Oh, you got anything else to say about the game? I'm assuming not, but I should check.
Nah, I'm fine.
Okay. No, it's good.
Colby,
it's good. It's a good game.
Yeah,
play it.
It is a good game. Well, that don't spoil it. That's the box shelf stack part.
You can say it, Tony.
All right, say it.
All right, I watched the entire Blood Super replay from Joshua Sanders. There will never be a new one now. American McGee said they were done after the third was denied, which sucks. I get it, but it sucks. I would have liked another one. From Lucas Harris, I didn't play this until 2013. It was extremely meh. The camera is awful, and I was constantly falling off platforms to my death. Combat isn't that deep. There's no trophies on the PS3 version if you're into that, and beating each level never gave me any sense of accomplishment. It was very visually interesting, and I liked the variety of locations and enemies, but overall I was underwhelmed. Okay, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I didn't see any Steam achievements pop up.
In 2011, they were unimpressed by this game. That doesn't make any sense to me, because everything, like I said, that was when everything was so boring to look at.
Yeah, this was everybody was trying to be Gears of War, like aesthetic.
Yeah, that was the thing. And I don't know.
I mean, some people are into that, but like fucking this game was a cool throwback at a time when these games weren't getting made. And yeah, if you wanted fucking, another Resident Evil 5 or whatever, like some boring looking game with just like a bunch of cover shooting, then I guess you would be disappointed by this. But I really don't see any reason why you would be disappointed with this, especially back when it came out, because this was like a breath of fresh air back then.
Yeah, it's very unique.
This was very different, like aesthetically and gameplay wise, because again, nothing else had been done like this for a long time. Like all of the mascot platformers were in shallow graves by this point. I feel like even Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, I don't know if that had come out yet, but that was nothing like the other two.
No, it also didn't do that.
And saying that the combat was like boring when you have all of those different ways of doing combat and it flows so smoothly, that person's just wrong.
Yes.
And from Joshua Novalis, I remember having a great time with this back in the day, but wishing pretty much every platforming section was 2/3 of the length it was. Great style and tone with a bit too much gameplay padding. Fair enough. From Charles Bell, I still want to try the first Alice game. You should. You can on PC. If you buy this, it's also on GOG probably, or Abandonware.
Yeah, somewhere. Or,
PC game, if I remember correctly.
Or buy it from a legitimate retailer.
Good luck. From Joseph Butler, friend of the show. I never played this, but my husband loves it. Nothing wrong with making a beloved series emo and edgy. Sure wish they could make a third one, but I heard EA has the series in a chokehold like everything else it produces.
I think Joe would like this game.
I do too. Mm-hmm. From Chris Merkovica, love the Cheshire Cat. I actually got a tattoo. Game makes me feel dirty as hell. Not the best gameplay, but atmosphere on another level.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
From Zach Zek, I pre-ordered it on PS3 back when it was released. I still have my copy. I think Duke Nukem Forever and it were released the same day. I canceled my Duke Nukem pre-order to get this instead. I really like the art style and platforming, and it had some exploration, so that is always fun. The combat for some of the enemies is kind of annoying. I love this. Okay, so this is how you know that the guy... What's his name? What's that guy's name? I clicked different pages, but I can... Okay, this Zach, is how... Zach, friend of the show. Okay. He's been on the show a few times. Zach, this is how you know this is a man of commitment. If this man is not married, he should be. Because if this man is willing to pre-order not only Alice Madness Returns, but Duke Nukem Forever, that is a man that has patience, he has commitment, and he will stick with you. Because both of those games combined took like 38 years to come out. If you put them with each other. That is a loyal man. Did they really come out on the same day? I didn't know that. Because I do. Because I'm not going to also. I'm too busy looking at butts. Because my wife definitely got the Duke Nukem Forever Collector's Edition again because she was working at GameStop. So I have the statue and everything. And that game is not nearly as bad as everybody says it is. No, it's not. I don't get why there's so much hate. It's not. It's a perfectly fine, Serious Sam-esque. It's fine. Yeah, it is a fine. It is a textbook like 6.5 out of 10 perfectly fun shooter. Yep. I will not listen to any more Duke Nukem Forever slanders. Like it's the worst game. No, it's perfectly fine. And I think that's one of those things that like the internet gets a hold of, and then it's a meme. It gets overblown. It's like I really don't think that people care as much
as they pretend to on the internet about that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like E.T. on the Atari 2600, I recently went through all of the Atari 2600 games.
I played that game.
And like rated them on how good and bad they are.
E.T.'s like a 4. Is like a 4.
It's not that bad. Like
it's right in the middle. It's not
in the world of 2600 games, it's perfectly fine.
There are so many worse.
Yeah,
Atari
absolutely.
games. There are ones that are barely games. That one is right to me around like Dragster. Like it's around that. It's very just right in the middle. It's not Centipede. It's not Adventure. No. But it's definitely not just the bottom of the barrel. It's no Yar's Revenge, but it's pretty good.
I have an adventure tattoo.
Oh, okay. I thought we were.
I was wondering what he's doing with his hand too. So.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was
showing
dope,
you my
dude.
Adventure tattoo.
That is dope, dude. I love that. This is why you need to sub to the Patreon because you're gonna miss that.
You get one video every so often. So.
You get antics. These are antics and visual things.
And unedited.
Folks are getting treated.
All right, and last question from this group from Gabriel Beachy. It is $1.49 on Steam, locked to 30 FPS. However, there's a way to change that. I'm assuming mods.
I
mean, it won't be the time you hear this, but
whatever.
But at even at 30 frames a second, that's sort of what it was made for. Yeah. So it's fine.
And maybe it's just me being old school because, like, I know like games like Banjo-Tooie, that's what everybody like gripes about is like, oh, the frame rate drops. I don't know if it's just me being like a 90s kid in like the beginning of early or 3D games, but like my eyes just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't see it. I'm not sophisticated enough. I don't know what that thing is, but like have no clue.
Yeah, it usually doesn't bother me, but when I'm missing platforms because of it, that's when I notice it. Otherwise, like Bloodborne runs at 30. Bloodborne's capped at 30. You can't go any more than 30. And people bitch about it. They're like, "Oh, I can't play it because it makes me sick." I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you've been playing video games for this long. 60 has not always been a thing. So just like play the game.
Go outside, nerd.
It's fine. It doesn't need to be 120 frames a second. Your eyes literally can't see it anyway.
You are not a Russian chess playing robot. You cannot calculate that much quickly. You saw a thing on the internet and you just go with it.
Yep.
Because that's what everybody else says.
It's another one of those internet things.
One of those
people make too big of a deal out of nothing.
All right, and then from the American McGee forums, Alice Madness Returns fans from Kyle Copeland. Did you play the first Alice game as well? 4 years ago I did, and don't remember nothing. But yes. From Robin Dawson, Alice Madness Returns, one of the first games I played on 360. I love how each chapter has a unique look, but also little details like her hair, fixes on moving platforms, the hobby horse, Nain, and the Mistress dress having a tear in the shoulder showing the stuffing. I also love how Alice isn't a sexy character in a revealing outfit like so many female protagonist games. Yep. She's a badass, but is broken and fragile, yet always speaks her mind no matter the situation. It's a really good way to put it.
Agree, because she shouldn't be for this kind of story.
Yeah, and especially in 2011, it would have been really easy for him to make her like just like a real short skirt and like, whatever. And even, that bondage outfit that I was talking about earlier.
It's still
not revealing or anything.
Still, no, but it's just a lot of belts and it looks good.
It's a lot of belts and it looks awesome.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm not even against like the sexy video game characters. I know that. What are you talking about, Mike? I am a staunch feminist, and you already know that. Saying which, I think that if you are making a game like Lollipop Chainsaw, she absolutely should be in a shirt skirt because that's the narrative that you're doing. Like, have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with showing a very nice butt. As you know, I was distracted for about Tomb Raider. I will talk about the butt of Tomb Raider constantly. Absolutely. But
Lollipop Chainsaw was a perfect example.
But for fairness, go back, listen to the Metal Gear Solid 3. I talk about Solid Snake's butt almost as much. Okay, I am equal there. But for the context of what this game was, a very fragile person going through this mental health struggle. You didn't need to make it.
No,
and it was so easy to execute that.
By not doing that.
Time and place, and this game knew exactly what it was doing, and it set the character up accordingly, knocked it out of the park.
Yep, and this was the time when every female video game character was in a low-cut shirt and a short skirt, and back then I probably didn't think about it as much, but now, like, you go back to some of those games, and Lollipop Chainsaw was a perfect example, because yes, that was like, that walked a really thin line of like, is this exploitative, yes, exploitative, or is this like, but also it's the character.
Yeah, and it was written by James Gunn, and he knew exactly what he was doing with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's the type of game that got away with that.
And should, like, it would be weird if she wasn't. Like, if that's the kind of game that you're making. Again, time and place.
And this wouldn't have fit it. I mean, I feel like I'm probably very much a feminist. Like, I want, I'm always very about women's rights and people's rights in general. Like, I'm very liberal. Like, but I like, if it just fits what you're going for, it's not done in bad taste. Yeah,
I totally agree. And, you can go the James Gunn way of Lollipop Chainsaw, or you can go the Kojima way with Quiet, and like, that feels bad and weird. Like, that character feels bad and weird.
Really need to experience that game one day.
It's again, I don't like the Metal Gear games.
Yeah,
but that character in particular, like, Kojima's bad with like over sexualizing female characters for no reason.
All right, and one last comment from this group, from John Pruitt. Stumbled across the first game at a Best Buy in 2001. The cover always struck me as scary yet interesting. Fast forward to 2011, and Duke Nukem Forever on 360 was about to be released. I was so close to buying it at launch. I had no idea. But
I had no idea that these games came out that close to each other.
Wow.
And later found out about the bad reviews. I went to GameStop and stumbled across Alice Madness Returns, and I finally rediscovered the sequel of that first game. I remembered years ago, bought it, and even got the first game through the Xbox store.
Oh.
All right. And I got a couple from the official Laser Time community, from Jason Heiser. Where are you playing this? I've always wanted to play them, but can't find them on PC. And of course, I did comment to him. It's on Steam. Buy it for sale. At the time of this recording.
Yeah, I probably won't be when we.
It won't be. Well, summer sale. July. I feel like this will be over by the time if you listen.
Put it on the official Games My Mom Found thing.
And if
but it goes on sale.
I
mean, goes on sale.
If it's on sale for $1.50, it can't be that expensive.
$10.
Like, if it's a $10 game,
it's worth it for $10.
It's worth $10.
Yeah, but the cheap bass for me is to just wait for the fall sale.
I mean, wait for it to be on sale.
On your
but
wish
also,
list and
this is more than worthy of your $10.
Easily.
Yes, it was. I played worse for that month.
Mm-hmm.
And from Lee Tran, this game was pretty neat, but my number one complaint was the pacing. Levels just felt way too long, which we talked about.
Yep.
From Christopher Melendez, same here. I loved the first one, but never checked out the second due to middling reviews and reports of it basically being a bad console port on PC. Looking into it now, there are mods for 60 frames per second and ultra-wide support, and I enjoyed the first couple levels so far.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Reet Leach, when I was a cosplay photographer, Alice was a semi-popular. It's a relatively easy costume, very recognizable, and stands out in a sea of current anime smash hit cosplayers. The game itself was 7 out of 10, but a really enjoyable 7 out of 10. Character, level, and world design were a strong standout in both Alice games, but the extra polish 2 got really showed it increased graphical fidelity. A major leap for the sequel is the shedding of Quake 2-3 PC movement system and adopting the standard third-person action adventure controls of consoles.
Yeah.
Very well written.
Yeah, 7. Like, people talk shit. Like, people make a 7 out of 10 seem like it's a bad review, but like 7 out of 10, that's like, I mean, I'll take a 7 out of 10 every day, because that usually means that there's something unique about it. That usually means that it's not like a polished AAA release, and I'll take that over a 10 out of 10 Call of Duty 100% of the time.
100% right.
Anyway, but yes.
Yeah. But also, I feel like I still see at least one Alice, like American McGee's Alice at every single con that I have been to. I feel like I always see at least one.
Yeah.
And it's usually not more than 3, but I always see at least one still.
I don't know if I have when I go to conventions.
But like Cleaver, the blue dress, like
Blue dress,
specifically, but like with the Cleaver.
Yep.
I feel like I've seen her around like at every con that I've been to. It's great. It is a very good look.
Yeah.
And last comment from this group from Kevin Dott. I love both those games. All right. And from the last
Me
group,
too.
And last group I'm going to read from the Giant Bomb group from Daniel Johansson. Didn't they try and start a reboot of it? I think I read about it and it failed to get backing.
Yep.
Yes, EA said no.
We talked about that.
Yes. From Matt Eckert, I played it for a while in recent years, but the controls are really bad. You'd follow the path in the water or whatever. Maybe I should try again. Sure.
Yeah, no.
And from John Silverman, really cool game. Okay. From Chris Ashby, in a world where I'm kind of sick of remakes, this would make a perfect remake. I always loved the idea of the game, but playing it never really hit. Could use a modern makeover for sure, which we will never see.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a remake of this. I think even though it's charming and it runs perfectly fine the way it is, but like if you did want to put a little bit more quality of life shit on there, bump up that, frame rate so that you're not dying while you're jumping.
Yeah.
That would all be perfectly reasonable as long as you didn't fuck with the story too bad.
Yeah, but EA don't care about this license.
Yeah.
It cares enough not to do anything with it, but don't care enough to actually, do anything with it. So
yeah.
From Shelby Hill, good game that may be a little too long. The story goes in some really dark places toward the end. Dollmaker might be one of the most evil characters of all time.
I'm glad we're not the only ones who noticed that it, drags at parts.
No.
Yeah.
From Tom Rokins, this game is one of those games where it's like you do one of what? Never mind. Yeah, I will. Never mind that. From Andrew Leon, I loved this game. At the time it came out, the graphics were spectacular, and it was a game that compelled me to take a bunch of screenshots at a time where photo modes weren't really a thing yet. From Sean McLean, I remember having a good time, but sometimes getting distracted by some rough edges. Mostly graphics where set pieces had really wild swings and asset quality.
Sure.
Let's see. From David Robinson, Card Castles in the Sky as an OST has a special place to me. Honestly, I was playing late at night, got to that bit to set my controller down and listen to it for a while. So when I think of that game, I think of that piece of music sitting in the dark, listening to it just what I needed at the time.
I didn't even notice the music.
I didn't either.
I'm also very bad about when I play games. Most of the time is spent listening to audiobooks or something else.
Yep. I'm the same way.
I do it. I do it too a lot.
But this, everything else about the atmosphere of this game is like spot on. So I'm sure the music's great.
Yeah.
Maybe I should Spotify the OST.
Yeah, why not?
All right, and before we go to Shelf Stacker Box, I want to give out a code, another Steam code for Bayonetta, a game that was on the show.
Oh,
cool.
God.
Is it a Steam code?
Steam code.
Don't take it.
NTRGB 3VTWKCBY6T. That is the Steam code for Bayonetta.
Y6T. Got it, Mike. Thank you.
Before anybody takes that code, go back and listen to the Bayonetta episode. It's a hot, steaming pile of garbage.
So don't even take it for free, is what you
don't even take it for free.
Mm-hmm.
He was very upset with it, apparently.
Oh, my God.
You were on the episode, yeah. You volunteered for that one, though. I didn't ask you.
I know.
You're like,
I made a huge mistake.
Clearly.
And let's go to, that brings us to Shelf Stacker Box. And Colby, why don't you go first?
Oh, this is going on the shelf, baby. I love this game. Even the box, like the cover art for it is nice. Yeah, this goes on the shelf. It's on my shelf.
All right, I'll go next. I'm also going to put this in the shelf. I love this game. I came into it with zero expectations, had a great time, really enjoyed it. I'm just, can't believe it took me 14 years to finally play this game that I own literally 3 copies of, but that's not surprising. But no, really had a good time. It's way better than I expected. It still holds up great in 2024. So going on the shelf. And Cody.
Yeah, okay. So, Mike, unfortunately, this one's going to be a box. No, of course it's going to be on the shelf, Mike. I don't think you put me in bad game episodes. As much fun as that would be. No, this game, by aesthetic alone, I was literally having to pick at nits to find any issue with this game. I want to live in this world. Yes, it is a depressing world, but I feel like I could do okay in it. There's so much variance to it. The enemy design is great. It took some chances, like even like with the wasps. That I don't know where the fuck that came from, but like they took a very wide swing and went for it, and all of it just kind of works. Like the game drags on a little bit too much, but at the end of this game, all I could think about was the story that was told, the journey that I went on, and the absolute beauty that this world still holds up. It is timeless aesthetically. I want to get a poster of this game and put it right up here and put this poster of Iceland back in my room. And yeah, it's an absolute shelf. It slightly lower on the shelf than the original Alice, but like right there.
All right. And I should introduce what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear us talk about Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Okay.
That's what you get to hear about next week. And Colby, where can people find you at?
You can go on your podcatcher app and search Jack Billings Presents. It is a scripted comedy podcast, absurdist, weird thing that takes place in different dimensions in Reading, Ohio, where we have ghosts and vampires and Frankensteins made of 72 people stitched together. It's a really weird show. I think it's fun and different from every other podcast you've ever listened to. Or if you're looking for a more normal podcast, This Bizarre Adventure is me and my co-host B. Highland talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, mostly. But mostly it's two unhinged leftists talking about how terrible this country is.
Yeah, that's how podcasts go.
Colby, have you gone so far left that you've gotten your guns back?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Love you, man. I knew I liked you.
And Cody, where can people find you at?
Oh, you can find me on TikTok. Just search Cody Laveau or type me into Google. Search Cody Laveau. We've almost come. And I know, and like, okay, so I knew that I made it this year. Because if you just search my name, Cody Laveau, in the Google text, it just says internet personality underneath my name. I made it. I know, right?
I need to get that someday.
It is a great feeling. Although, if you ask an AI who I am, it'll say Cody Laveau is an internet influencer and he's done this, that, and that, and the. But at the very bottom of that thing that the AI says, it'll say Cody has appeared on the podcast Games My Mom Found. And
does it actually show up like that?
It does. It says the names of the podcasts that I've been on. So you are, you're at the bottom of that. But yeah, it does mention the podcasts I've been on. And you are the first podcast that it mentions because I've done like 28 of these now. So
I could figure out how many you've done, actually.
I've done a bunch now, man. I must have done a dozen. I've done like Metal Gear.
I don't keep track.
Like Dead Spaces. I've done a lot. Mario, apparently, that I forgot about. I'm on TikTok mostly. You can find me on that. I'm making silly videos nearly every single day. I'm doing right now the Redneck Abroad series in Tennessee. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're hiking up in the Cumberland Mountains. We're diving into caves, going to a polyamorous D&D section. So that's going to be a whole thing. That's going to be wild to see the lasciviousness of dorks playing D&D. That's going to be a fun video. Just follow me on there. There's always something new. Also,
and you're a published author.
I was just about to say I'm a published author. My book is called Horangi Fire, Horangi Fire. We debuted at number 8 on New Fantasy on the Amazon charts. I'm exceptionally proud of that book. That book continues to sell. I love it so much. I think anybody that is listening to this that has already bought the book, why not buy a second book? Right. But yes, but you can search that on Amazon and I show up. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on Instagram. If you just search my name, I'm very easy to find. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I got more stuff in the works that I cannot talk about yet, but I'm very excited that does happen. And you will be like, you're not going to be the first to know, Mike, but you'll definitely be in the top 50.
I'll take
it. But yeah, I am always around and out and about and doing a bunch of stuff. So I'm very easy to find these days. Shout out to President Gudni Johansson. He's going to be the president of Iceland for just a short period of time longer. He sent me a very nice email recently thanking me for my volcano journalism up around the Reykjaneskagi Oh, peninsula, if you have no idea what any of those words mean, check my TikTok and figure out why I'm standing in front of active volcanoes. There's a lot of lore to me, Mike.
Yes, I know. We've been friends now for like 5 years.
You have been here before any of this happened.
Because we met in the official Age Time community.
Yeah, probably like 2019, yeah.
And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 650 other episodes of the podcast. To find the original Alice that we did, there'll be a link in the show notes. Otherwise, just search Alice and Podbean. You can find everything that we do. Type in stuff. You never know what you're going to find. Metal Gear Solid, you will find a whole bunch of stuff. Tomb Raider, you will find a whole bunch of stuff. Check out all those. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. As I mentioned earlier, we have a Patreon poll, 1 or 2 every month. Depends on the month. Currently 2, but definitely go do that. You can help support the show, and you get access to video footage once in a great while. Maybe more. We'll see. So definitely go do that. And we have a Discord. Please join our Discord. You see a link in the show notes. It's free. We're always happy to have new people join us and chat with us. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro crazy Elena and Hell Hasfer. You can follow her on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. She's also TikTok famous. Awesome woman. You can go check her out. And we give a shout out to a gamer looks at 40 of Bill Tucker. He's currently doing Final Fantasy, so you can listen if you want to hear about Final Fantasy. He's got tons of that for you.
Oh my God, too much Final Fantasy over there.
Yeah, that's what he's been saying too. So definitely go check him out. And then please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, audio only, TikTok, squirrel videos that I take from my chair. So definitely go check that out. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time.
You know what I say, Mike? Or take it easy.
Take it twice.
And if it's easy, you gotta take it twice. I'm too honky for this donkey, Mike. Egelskapig, as we say in Iceland. Have a great night, man.
Bye.